Da 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 da. Hey Mike. Hey John. I'm gonna wait for a few people to come in. Hey Teflon. That's some good news, at least from one aspect. Hey Teresa. Hey victims. Hey Chris. Samnaga. Last of the Naga. Hey Eric. Hey Sarah. Pigs under pressure. News Now, South Florida. Hey, how's it going? Okay, down here in Florida, at least where I'm at in Clearwater, over the last week, I have not heard them do a 1050. 1050 in Florida is they're calling in to check, dropped my phone, to check license plates, which normally means they caught you for speeding, running a red light, or, tag or something along that lines. They're not doing it at all. Hey, Silver Diamond. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Hey, Trump. Hey, Sarah. But what they're doing is building checks. Now, I understand going from building to building of stuff that's closed. But why are you hitting Home Depot and places that are open? That seems silly. There's a lot of people around them, and what they're doing is actually trying to drive around and just to make sure. Now, the other day I heard a call come in for a guy that was tagging the side of the building. Spray can in hand, still doing it. The lady's on the phone looking out the window and she can see it. And the sergeant called in and said that it wasn't important enough to have them file it online. Now, all this happened right after they went through and they called out all the police officers, numbers to see if they were code 4, which is not busy and just patrolling. Now, there must have been 13, 14 calls that everybody was code 4, but they couldn't go to somebody that was spray painting on the side of the wall, still doing it. So, I don't understand. I mean, I've heard at least 6 calls that all of a sudden they mention COVID-19 and the officers sort of stay away from it and have the dispatcher get a hold of them and say, if there's any further problems, call us back. So they're worried about it here too. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I've seen videos put out there that actually pissed me off. It's people trying to make people scared and all that. Now, we need to worry about it. We need to keep our social distance. But for someone to sit there and show train loads of military vehicles going by, which, by the way, most of that was at least 3 years old, and some of the footage was from way back in Iraq when they were sending the vehicles that are made in the Midwest to San Diego. So that's why they'd be on the trains going through this area, going through that area. And they didn't send them all the same track to make sure that nobody blew up that track. They sent, if they've got 6 directions, they sent trains 6 directions. So people are starting this conspiracy stuff. Now, if you've watched the news and you've studied up on it, everybody sits here and says, oh, the regular common flu is worse. It kills 100,000 people throughout the world a year. That's true. But the percentages are so small on that 100,000, it might affect 800 million people that get the flu, or 1 billion people that get the flu. So the 100,000 gets dropped down to a very small percentage of actual deaths. Whereas what we have now is 10 times more likely to kill you. And people are thinking, well, it only affects the elderly. And that's not true. I've watched enough of these doctors, and they're all saying the same thing. A little over 40% is in between the ages of 20 and 54. Those are the cases, those are the deaths. Now, the other 60% is, yes, coming from the upper older folks that have underlying conditions and stuff like that. But this virus is a lot worse. And I'm sorry, I'm not really reading the stuff that you guys are typing, and I'm sorry, but this is stuff I need to get off my chest. There's a few big auditors that have started hoaxes, and it's a shame that they fallen that far. I mean, I understand by doing this, I might lose some subscribers, and that's fine, because I've watched enough, I've read enough on it. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to say it. But the person that should be doing the daily briefing from the White House is Trump's doctor that he has in charge there. That guy is the smartest one there. And Trump will say something, and then all of a sudden the doctor has to turn around and pretty much make it nice and say that's really not real. You know, like malaria drug that's going to help people. The only problem is just regular, if you get malaria and you take the medication for that, there's things in it that can kill you. And it's like a 3% death rate when you take the malaria drug. Now, they don't know what that with this virus will do. And that's why his own doctor has pushed back so far. And it's just at a point of, if you've noticed, all of a sudden, I believe his name is Dr. Fauci. Trump gets him out of the picture for a little while, because Trump doesn't like 2 stars in front of the cameras. And he wants to be the number 1 star. Now, this is what really has me ticked off. As Trump went on last night, or yesterday afternoon and all that, and said that hopefully within a week, things will be better and we can open up our borders and get people back to work. We haven't hit that downward curve. We're still raising. And yesterday was our biggest total death day yet, over 100. I don't trust Trump either, Chris. And it's hard to trust a lot of things that are coming out of Washington. I mean, look at this. It originally started with, at a campaign rally of Trump's, it was mentioned, and he went into it saying that, the Democrats tried to get me on the Russia colluding. Then they tried to get me for impeachment, and that didn't work. Which it didn't. They impeached him, and it'll go down in history that he was impeached. The Senate didn't convict him of it, but he was impeached, and it will go down that way. But then he turned around and took it one step further and said that COVID-19, and he used the other word, which YouTube doesn't like, is a hoax from the Democrats. Now, we see how far this hoax has gone. And I do not believe this is about trying to take rights away from people, trying to regain control, trying to eliminate some of the population. This is something that's very important that we all need to watch. I mean, I'm sorry, but my own city voted on one day, on a Wednesday, to close the beaches, but then at first wasn't going to do it until Monday, and Pinellas County came in and said, no, you're closing them Friday night. And that was brought to my attention from somebody in here, and I appreciate the info because I didn't have that yet. But the city of Clearwater looks stupid as hell, and we got so much broadcast airtime, and these kids just don't understand. They think, oh, it only hurts the elderly. But what happens if they go back to their parents? What happens if they go back to their grandparents' house? If they've got it, they're taking it right to them. And that's why I think cases here in Florida will go up, and other places, because we had a lot of spring breakers closed for political flu. Well, somebody in the White House, and there was people the TV people that were there during the thing, saying that they had called it the Kung Flu. And Trump sort of laughed it off. And he says, that's not the right thing to say, and if you can find out who said it, please let me know, and I will make sure they never say it again. That's one thing I'm glad that he said. But he's now calling it the China flu. Now, flu starts, we've had flu that started here and went other places. Did people call it the American flu? No. This is a worldwide pandemic. And unless we continue to keep our 6-foot distance, I can't find masks anywhere. So if I am out, I'm like this. And you know what? At first I thought I looked like an idiot, but I started thinking I'd rather be safe than sorry. There are more people here in Bradenton, Sarasota than anywhere else in the country. Teflon, there is a lot of people. We always say that people retire to Florida and then they send their parents down to Sarasota. So, hey, Peachy. But it's just, we have to continue this. The $1 trillion stimulus is now went up to $2 trillion. And who knows how high that's going to go. But Trump wants us to end in a week so we can get the stock market back going, because it's actually now lower than when he took office. All those gains that were made in 3.5 years are gone. And, everybody that had money in the stock market for their 401k, they're getting hit hard. And you're right, Catman, it could go up to $5 trillion, considering they're talking about, it's at $3 trillion now. But they're talking about that this could be a multiple giveaway of money. That, what is it? A family of 4, and I'm taking that a mother and a father and 2 children is supposed to get $3,000 or something like that. But if that's multiple times, you're talking a lot of money. But our economy has to take a hit, and we have to do this the right way, or we're screwed the other way and the economy will never come back. I mean, if you start killing off thousands and thousands and thousands of people, how's the economy going to come back? You know, and hi, Lisa. And I will look at some of your guys' comments. You please tell me what you think about this, because you know, you guys have listened to what I think. My dad is still working a job, is a big business, and my dad will not stop working with the coronavirus, not a job, had a class, coronavirus. You know, and there's, like here in Florida, they've stopped all non-essential. But here's a thing right here. There's a guy over there that works for the city that he's messing with stuff. Now, they've got guys that are out here mowing grass. How is that essential? Yes, Ohio is definitely closed. They are shuttered down tight. And a lot more states need to do it. Carrying your AR everywhere. Hey, if it's illegal in your state, do it. Because, you know, if things don't start to get better, they're going to continue to get worse. And Lisa, I'm glad there's 0 cases in, I guess that's Saskatchewan, Canada. So you guys have a curfew 5 p.m. That'd be a tough curfew. Because what about people that are working? Are they pulling everybody over? Well, I'm glad there's no cases in yours. I know that in Florida we have over 1,000 cases. 70 are from out of state that traveled in. I will, John. But like I said earlier, these officers do not want to go to anything that might have COVID around it. And if you really think about it, do you blame them? Yes, it's a job. And yes, they don't have to put their life on the line for us. Supreme Court's ruled, 5 times on that. So why would they take a chance like that? But it is very funny that they're not pulling over anybody for speeding. My biggest problem is everything for the state shut down except for the health department. This is to get my tag renewed. My birthday's Saturday. They said the earliest they will reopen, or I shouldn't say that. The sign said that they are closed through March 27th, which is this coming Friday. My birthday is Saturday. So what am I to do? Tried to go online, spent 2.5 hours on wait, and I never got anybody to talk to. Peachy, I can understand. Thank you, Teresa. 500-mile round trip yesterday. Didn't see one 18-wheeler bringing restock supplies. Now, down here, Trump, they are doing a pretty good job, at least the Walmarts. My wife went out, and yes, we were low on toilet paper. We had some single ply, but all of a sudden they announced that they had paper goods, so my wife and her friend, who she shops with every week, it was Sunday, I'm sorry, they went back and they both got one pack, which has got like 8 or 9, 12 rolls or whatever, but you could not buy more than that. And that's the way it should be. Thank you, Peachy. Yes, I saw that AK Twin Mommies was yesterday, and I wished her a happy birthday. Excellent point, Eric. Eric, let's see what you said. Why these people out of work? Who is paying the government? How and why are they still being paid? Exactly. They shouldn't be paid, and they should be put in the same position as everybody else waiting for these checks. You guys, some of you might be young, some of them you might not, but the last time they did a stimulus check was back when Bush. It was signed in February. Checks didn't go out till May. So how it's going to stimulate the economy, I don't know. Well, tell him happy birthday. I'm twice as old as he is. Thank you, Sarah. Hi, Grams. We've been talking about some of the BS with politicians, some jobs that shouldn't be essential but are still being done, and that cops aren't going to anything that has COVID-19. They're not even giving tickets out for speeding. I've had my scanner on, and right now I got it out, but I wasn't about to pay $160 or whatever they are. But $10 at Target. They last for about 3.5 hours. I use the right ear and then I use the left ear. By the time the left ear's done, the right ear's already charged. Thank you, Trump. I'm surprised you didn't say I look like a monkey. Because I know I don't smell like one. I had a shower this morning. But guys, that's all I really wanted to say. But, you know, I've still seen calls. Spittin' Cobra had one this morning that he put out. And it showed 5 police officers for one car. Now, when you have 5 police officers going to one call, that means there's not people for the next call. In LA is the same way. How many times you seen SGV or any of those guys? They have so many police officers show up and stand around. So they wonder why calls are backlogged 3 hours. I mean, SGB actually had to go down because the officers never showed up when he got attacked. And then he stood inside the police department for like 40 minutes. Pizza delivery guy came. They had somebody come out and get that. So he waited for them to eat. I'd have been so pissed. Yeah, it's bad weather here today too. It's only 80 degrees right now at 11 o'clock in the morning. But I think we're 80 plus for a while. And it's really not overcast. The thing I have noticed also, and I don't know if any of you guys have, there's not as many planes in the air. I mean, I'm not going to travel by plane. First of all, I don't like traveling in a plane because anybody that has a cold, just a regular cold, you're so likely to get it. And with this, if somebody has COVID-19, the whole damn plane could get it. Kevin, I am the same way. I lived in Iowa. I remember 3.5 months of nothing but gray skies. Got really old. A lot of helicopters. No, the only thing I've been seeing is the Coast Guard. But they fly out for boats that are out in the water. Uh-oh. What happened here? You were blocked in my chat? I haven't blocked anybody. The only people I've told my mods to block are Rick Crude. And that's because he made things personal in responses. So I just didn't. Oh, and Kevin, I didn't strike her. She always says I did, but I didn't. So guys, you have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Know your rights. I'm gonna get out of here, okay? Hopefully I can pick something up, but no volume, it's buffering. Okay, then I'm just gonna go ahead and cancel it. So have a great day, guys.